What an NBA player teaches us about communication. My name is Rob Hunter. Welcome to Equal Matters, where the door is always open. Thank you for being here and investing time in yourself. We talk a lot about communication on this podcast because it is the most important skill of your life. It's the skill that you use the most. And I always like to back up because I see all these posts about communication and I see all these tips about communication, and many of them are good. But I still think communication is such a broad term, it needs further definition because communication is all-encompassing because it is what you do the most every day. I recently had a conversation with project managers and business analysts, and they told me 80% to 100% of their jobs is communication. And that's basically like life. I think the average person, most of what we do, up to 80%, is communicate. I mean, obviously we're thinking, but that's communication too. Communication we have in our own heads. So the NBA player is Tyrese Halliburton. He plays for the Indiana Pacers. They just lost Game 7 of the NBA Finals to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And Halliburton started that game, but he had been hampered by a calf injury. And the calf injury turned into an Achilles tear in Game 7. Just awful. But this is a man, Halliburton, who laid it out on the line. Gave everything he could for his team and is going to need about a year of recovery. But that's what putting it all on the line is. So I define communication as two simple things: presentation and presence. Presentation is performance, for lack of a better term. It is how you perform when you're speaking, how you capture and keep attention. And the presence portion is how well you listen. Because at the end of communication is an influence scale. How influential were you to your audience? Whether that is one person, 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people, 8 billion people for that matter. So Halliburton, prior to Game 7, and you got to imagine the stress of going into Game 7 and where your mind goes and what your thoughts are, because this is it. This is your last chance of the season to win an NBA championship. And it's something that the Indiana Pacers, Halliburton's team, had never done. And he's the reason they got there. Clutch performance after clutch performance. The Pacers had a knack for coming back at the end of games in ways that we had never seen in the NBA Finals. Absolutely stunning, amazing. Because it was their ability to stay present in the game that mattered, that impacted their performance. So you see the parallel to life. When you are present while presenting, performing good things, amazing things, things that have never happened before happen. You achieve your goals. You build bridges. You build coalitions because you can't do it all on your own. I mean, look at the Indiana Pacers. Even though they lost in Game 7, they played as a team. They're a coalition. And the champion, Oklahoma City Thunder, same thing. They operate as a team. And the head coaches of each team built a coalition around a goal of winning a championship. And you perform every day. Practice every day. Same thing you can do with your communication skills. You have numerous opportunities to do so. You can do it in the grocery store. I do it all the time. You can do it with me, one-on-one. I love to work with leaders to help them tune into their frequency so that their performance, when it matters, is off the charts. Like Halliburton throughout the entire playoffs up until he was injured. And the reason I bring up Halliburton in his lesson about communication is because sports media, there's a lot of conversation. I have a talk radio background. My first talk show was actually a sports talk show. So I was part of that talkosphere, that sports talkosphere that had all the opinions in the world. I could tell the Florida Gators how to run that football program. When I worked at WEEI in Boston, I was behind the scenes, but the hosts on that radio station always told the Boston Red Sox what decisions they should make, or if a player struck out in the bottom of the ninth, how he should have swung the bat a little differently. It's just opinions. And that's what Halliburton said. He said, What I will not be listening to is the poison narratives, his words, that permeate sports talk radio. Why? Because what you listen to influences you. Language is contagious, is the way I like to say that. What you listen to leaves an impression in your head, messes with your head. What you say leaves an impression behind that may mess with other people's heads. You don't want that. You want to communicate clearly, get your point across quickly so that it is easily understood. So Halliburton refusing to listen to the poison narratives helped him stay present so that he could perform. So you see how all these things are parallels, right? Teamwork is built on communication, building collaborations. Your own conversation you have in your head is determined by what you are present for, what you are listening to, what contagion you're bringing in. If you like affirmation, same thing. It works the opposite way, so long as it works for you. But that's why I like Halliburton's example, because inadvertently, he shows us how important communication is as an NBA player, something you don't think he gets up and gives speeches or he runs meetings or he's the CEO and he has to determine and dictate a vision so that the entire team understands it and knows which direction to go. No, he doesn't have that. He shoots, he rebounds, plays offense, he plays defense, but he still communicates every single day. He communicates on the court, talks to his teammates. He has to be clear. There's no time to muddle around when you're playing for a championship. And Halliburton, because he was injured Game 6 going into Game 7, it was easy for him not to listen to the talk sphere, the poison narratives, as he calls it, because he was focused on his treatment. So he wanted to perform for his team, and he laid it all on the line, as I mentioned. So a couple of lessons from Halliburton. First, communication is important no matter what you do. Second, the more you work on it, the more present you are, the better your presentation is, the better your performance is, as Halliburton showed us throughout the entire playoffs. So that is an example that we can all learn from. If you want to work together, pretty simple, robhunter.me, or DM me, find me on the socials, or send me an email, your choice. It's all right there for you, robhunter.me. This is Equal Matters. I'm Rob Hunter. See you next time.